So James Gunn is taking over at DC with Peter Safran. They're running the DC universe now, no longer the DC extended universe. No, he's looking to establish continuity across movies, television, video games, smoke signals, tin cans with strings attached to them, reverberated sounds bent between valleys. I don't know, but they're looking to establish continuity in a way that DC has never been able to do before, especially under moron Zack Snyder, who's not affiliated with this channel in any way. And we've talked about this. But anyway, before I go off and start clapping my hands when I talk, let's get into this video about DC and James Gunn and Henry Cavill and a whole bunch of nonsense. Ladies and gentlemen, shall we? So here we are. James Gunn reveals he was hired to write Superman Legacy 6 months ago before Henry Cavill's return as Superman in Black Adam. And isn't that telling, folks? This whole plan, they knew before Black Adam was even released that it was dead in the water. It was going to not lead to anything. The Rock, and I have to credit Chris Fisk for saying this. You play the Game of Thrones, you either win or you die. Henry Cavill's days as Superman were numbered before he ever shot the post-credit scene in Black Adam. James Gunn revealed the big surprise on Twitter that he was hired by Warner Brothers to write Superman Legacy over 6 months ago, placing the start of its development and greenlighting before Black Adam's release and while Cavill was prepping for the film. Yeah, this whole thing, it never stood a chance. To be fair, I didn't want the Snyderverse to come back, but I hated a lot of the aesthetic to that. The only thing Zack Snyder did well was casting. In the case of Henry Cavill and Gal Gadot is Wonder Woman. The rest of the casting, like I said, I like Ben Affleck as Batman too. I really did. I just wish we would have gotten an actual Batman film instead of BVS, the jumbled mess that was. And I'm saying that as somebody who owns that, the Ultimate Edition. Yeah.
Just saying.
Asked about other films that are part of the slate under development, such as Creature Commandos, Gunn clarified Superman Legacy was in the works, along with the Commandos, long before he and Safran were hired to revamp DC Studios, explaining the projects weren't that fast-tracked. He added Legacy was meant to be a separate one. He would follow up with further clarification. He was indeed hired half a year ago to write the new Superman movie, which was assumed to be in development simultaneously with Man of Steel 2 and the Elseworlds Black Superman, written by renowned piece of shit communist Ta-Nehisi Coates and produced by self-hating white cuck J.J. Abrams. The Man of Steel sequel was canceled and Cavill has since been ousted. And this is James Gunn here, replying to somebody asking about Creature Commandos being in production. And I'm seeing so many people like taking sides in this now, and it's just like, this is so tribalistic. It's so funny. Like, I don't care about either side. The tribalism that's driving the strife between the Snyder side, which I don't know why there's still Snyder people out there that are still thinking that this is going to come, the Snyderverse. I saw on AEW Wrestling last night, somebody had a sign that said, sell the Snyderverse to Netflix. Do they understand this is not a Marvel Sony type situation? I don't think they do. So let's move on here with the article.
Don't know nothing.
Via The Hollywood Reporter, Gunn attempted to explain at a press event last month that Cavill was not fired or under contract at all. We didn't fire Henry. Henry was never cast, he said. For me, it's about who do I want to cast as Superman and who do the filmmakers we want to have cast. And for me, for this story, it isn't Henry. He added that Cavill is a great guy who fell victim to being dicked around by the old bosses of Warner and DC Films. I can agree with James Gunn there. Henry Cavill really was dicked around by the old bosses, Hamada and all those other guys, Jeff Johns, and I think it was Peter Berg over there at Warner. They really did just string him along. And it was sad because not since Christopher Reeve has there been a more perfect casting for Superman. I know I like Tyler Hoechlin that's in Superman and Lois on the CW, but he's not Henry Cavill, obviously. We added that Cavill is a great guy who fell victim to being dicked around by the old bosses of Warner and DC. I like Henry. I think he's a great guy. I think he's getting dicked around by a lot of people, including the former regime at this company. But this Superman is not Henry for a number of reasons, Gunn said. I just don't think Gunn wants somebody that Zack Snyder had. And this guy he's swarmy. He's swarmy. I don't care. You can say what you want. Oh, give him a chance. He just has a dark sense of humor. I have a dark sense of humor too, and let me tell you what, I would never in a million years throw a party and dress like Catholic priests, and it just makes my skin crawl. It does. And then the whole redneck, I mean, it's just like, so James Gunn is obviously a coastal elite, right? This guy is. He's Hollywood. This guy is one of the Hollywood in crowd. He's one of the club, as it were. And you think this guy doesn't laugh at the flyover states? So when he did that whole trailer park white trash party, that is not done in just a tongue-in-cheek kind of light no, that is full-blown, these people are fucking garbage, but I want their money kind of thing. You know what I mean? But then I'll mock them, and yeah, that's the way. That's why I really vehemently dislike 90% of Hollywood, because that's how 90% of them, maybe more, look at people in the flyover states that don't live on the coast. And I had somebody try to shame me on a thread on Twitter because I live in Michigan. They're like, bro's from fucking Michigan. I'm like, and I guarantee you, despite the fact that I live in fucking Michigan, outside of YouTube, which I don't, or Twitter, which I don't count as real life, my life's probably far better than yours. If you're that salty about a comment I made that you're trying to dog on where I live is some sort of an insult, that's a lot of projection. That is a lot of projection. So these people overall, these sycophants, these weirdos that idolize and deify, who are, by all accounts and reports, just horrible human beings, just vapid, hollow husks of human beings. And I say that about James Gunn the same as I say that about Zack Snyder, the same as I say that about all their sycophantic followers. They have a hive mind on both sides. Both sides. And then there's just the rest of us who are just like, Jesus Christ, can we get a good fucking Superman movie? Can we get a good fucking Superman movie, please? Can one of you fucking idiots make a good Superman movie? No? Okay, didn't think so. Then we got Ta-Nehisi Coates laying back in the cut. Anyway, so this begs the question of why Zaslav and the Warner Brothers Discovery people would allow Cavill to return and then proudly make his announcement. Numerous people on Twitter expressed this to Gunn, which Gunn probably said, hold on, I have a in my mouth.
He's 100% queer. He loves the cock.
One question. Could you please tell us why Cavill went out to the world to tell everyone he is back as Superman, only to find out weeks later he isn't? Yes, you were hired to write a script 6 months ago, but you had to have known the CEO job was yours and that Cavill wasn't in fact Superman. And he says, gotcha. I think there was some confusion being you said Superman Legacy was there before you and Peter came in. Gunn says it was. I was hired to write Superman Legacy over 6 months ago. Here's him asking the question. Let's see. It says 6 months ago. Then why did Cavill cameo if Black Adam? You were already working on a new one 6 months ago. Still another question. 6 months yet Cavill's brought in, told he was back as Superman. The audience rejoiced, and it was never going to be a thing to begin with. I feel like Cavill and the audience were being swindled here.
And there was much rejoicing.
It could be that Gunn was to blame for worming his way into power, but the general chaos at DC appears to have facilitated the debacle. Dwayne Johnson reportedly went around executives to get Cavill and Black Adam, for instance. Other Elseworlds projects, meanwhile, are actively happening, according to Gunn, and slipping through the cracks. Among them are Constantine 2, with the makers of the 2005 film returning, and the aforementioned Abrams Coates brand Superman. It's like Gunn said at the outset of his DCU announcement. It's been a real fucked up journey for DC, and nobody was minding the mint. The history has been shit, Gunn declared via Cosmic Book News. There was basically no one minding the mint, and they were giving out IP to any creatives that smiled at whoever was in charge. There was never any real power given to the people in charge, and so somebody could always go over their head and do whatever they wanted.
Whatever, I do what I want.
So, all in all, Fruit Loop James Gunn being hired to write this 6 months ago proved that Henry Cavill was never coming back as Superman. Black Adam was never going to go any further than one movie, and this whole thing was bound to get swept clean. They knew it was going to happen, and they went ahead and did this shit anyway, which is really, it's sad because Henry Cavill is Superman. I hope he goes on and gets a lot better roles than Cape shit, because he seems to have a very good range and a lot of ardent fans out there who really like this guy. And by all means, he sounds and seems like a very cool guy, very nerdy, albeit built like a fucking tank, and looks, I mean, the dude is, I mean, he's a handsome man, I can admit that. He's a good looking guy, very, like I said, but he's a nerd, you know, he's into nerd culture. He loves The Witcher. He wanted to leave that because what they were doing to that show, which I've never seen, but I have friends that really swear by that show and love it and say that it sucks now, and the Blood Origin thing was the prequel was garbage. But getting back to DC has been a narrative mess ever since it started, and this Flash movie looks bad. It's just sad that we're going to really lose probably the best Superman since Christopher Reeves, that never got a chance to actually be Superman. But, I mean, we had a Batman that was like that too, and Ben Affleck. But that's just my opinion. I know a lot of people don't like him because Batman's not supposed to kill. This Batman killed. So did Superman. I didn't like when Superman killed Zod. I didn't think he should. He shouldn't have done that. He just a boy. I don't know, a little South Park reference there for you folks. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Are you Team Snyder, Team Gunn? Are you just kind of like me and in the middle of this whole thing, just laughing at both sides and their tribalism and their stupidity and all of that infighting between the DC fandom? And I say that not as a Marvel stan, because those morons are just as bad over there. Let me know what you think in the comments. Subscribe today. Ding the bell for notifications. I'm Etepel Kuian from the Place to Be Reviews. I've been here with all these. If I don't see you, have a great day, a pleasant tomorrow, and I'll catch you on the next one.
It's better to burn out than to fade away.
I could do this all.
This doesn't bode well.
You're lying. I never hit you. You are tearing me apart, Lisa.
Tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering.